House of EdTech, episode 84.
Hey, I'm Miles, and you're listening to the House of EdTech with my daddy, Chris Nessie.
Support for this episode of the House of EdTech comes from my awesome supporters. Thank you so much to Jen Giffen, Peggy George, Mark Grindell, Dan Gallagher, Jeff Herb, and Brent Warner for all your support. If you're interested in becoming an awesome supporter of the podcast, go to chrisnessie.com/awesome. Welcome to the House of EdTech podcast. I am your host, Christopher Nessie, and the House of EdTech explores how technology is changing the way teachers teach and the impact that technology is having in education. My objectives include discussing technology that is changing our classrooms and schools and sharing tools and tips that you can hear about today and use tomorrow. I talk to teachers, leaders, and creators just like you and have them share their stories. The purpose? Whether you use it or not, technology is changing the way we teach and how our students learn. And welcome back inside the House of EdTech. This is a very special episode. The majority of this shorter episode was recorded at my recent trip into New York City for IgniteSTEM. So all of the recordings, everything I did was done, kind of choppy throughout the day, from really the moment I got into the car to the moment the conference was over, and I was able to kind of relax and just kind of talk shop at a little restaurant in New York City. So it was a lot of fun, and I'm looking forward to sharing all of that with you in just a second. But first, I have a very special guest here in the studio, right here in the House of EdTech. It's Miles, everybody. Say hi, Miles.
Goodbye. I'm trying to trick you.
Thank you for trying to trick everybody.
I'm a trickster.
You just woke up from your nap. Are you excited to be on the House of EdTech?
Yes, you silly Billy.
I'm excited to have you here for a couple minutes.
Just tell everybody we forgot the Miles show the whole week, a couple weeks. Tell them.
Yeah, we forgot to do the Miles show because we do a video show with you on Facebook called The Miles Show, and you like to do that?
Yes, because we talk about what?
We talk about whatever you want. Sometimes we talk about vacuums.
Cyclones. And we have to talk about sharks.
Sharks?
You didn't talk about sharks yet.
He's very animated. He's very excited, everybody.
Because we have to do sharks. You forgot to do sharks the couple weeks we did it.
Well, what? Okay, so you like cleaning technology, right? You like things that clean easy?
Yes,
So what do you love best about a shark?
That it has crazy hoses that I can throw away and lose them.
So should we talk about sharks and steamers on the next episode of The Miles Show?
Hang on a minute.
Hang on a minute. Okay, what? Why are we hanging on?
Because I need to tell you something.
Tell everybody something. Everybody's listening.
Did you notice, Daddy, that when we do the Miles Show, we keep forgetting to talk about something?
What do we keep forgetting?
We have to talk about what sharks and other cleaning tech things do. And we have to do the orbital sanders, the drum sander, and all kinds of sanders for floors. So maybe the next 2 Mondays we'll do that.
That sounds like a great idea. So why don't you do me a favor?
Yes.
I want you to tell everybody that they're about to listen to your daddy's adventures in New York City.
You're about to listen to Daddy's Adventures in New York City. Goodbye. I'm doing something different this episode. I am recording this episode in my car as I'm driving. I'm being safe. It's no different than talking on the phone, except I'm talking to you. Why am I in the car? Well, I'm on my way to the train station to go to New York City because today I will be attending the IgniteSTEM conference. And I need to give a shout out to Stacy Lindis. I Run Tech on Twitter, because she's the one who let me know about this conference and got me the registration form. And so I'm meeting up with Stacy today from the Ed Justice League, which I've talked about at length on the podcast before. And I'm going to record the rest of this episode over the course of my time at the conference. So I can tell you right now, as I'm recording this, I don't know what's necessarily going to be in this episode. There will be a recommendation. There will be an EdTech thought. And I'm sure I will be able to get Stacy to be a guest on today's episode. But I don't know right now, as I talk about it, if that's going to happen. So you already know it's going to happen because you can see the show notes. You can go to the blog post. But this is interesting, and I am excited to try something new. And I will share that the inspiration for doing it this way, this episode, is because I listened to a show called the Sully Baseball Podcast, and that show began over 4 years ago in 2012. And the guy who does it, Sully, he recorded over 1,600 consecutive days of episodes. Not an hour long, but, anywhere from 18 to 25, 26 minutes. And he would sometimes record from his house or his mobile podcast studio, also known as his car. So I thought, why not give that a try here for an episode and record almost NPR style over the course of a day. So I know that there will be some background noise, some ambiance, but I am excited to try something new creatively as I put together an episode not in one sitting, but over the course of an entire day. I'd love to know your thoughts on how this came out. So you can go to the show notes for this episode at chrisnessie.com, or you can obviously reach out on Twitter at Mr. Nessie, SpeakPipe on the website, any number of ways that you can get in contact with me. And I'm looking forward to bringing you whatever the rest of this episode holds. So I just sat through the first segment of the Ignite Talks. I'll be honest, I have to go back and get the name of the person who I just heard speak, but they are going to factor in to my EdTech thought. My update for right now in my day is that my train to New York City arrived at Penn Station 20 minutes late, but Stacy Lindis found me in Penn Station, and we were able to take the subway down here to the NYU School of Law. I have seen a lot of familiar faces already, like Chrissy Romano. Emmanuel Andre from BFC 530 is in the house. So this is very exciting, and I'm looking forward to getting more clips throughout the day. So that's all for now, and I will be back, of course. So this is the part of the episode where I'm going to freak people out because I'm walking in a crowd of people while I talk into my microphone. And it just so happens I'm here with one of my awesome supporters, Dan Gallagher. What's going on, Dan?
Not much, Chris. I'm glad to be on the House of EdTech. This is awesome.
I was going to say, this is actually like a long time coming. So what made you want to come out to IgniteSTEM?
One of my colleagues, who I now currently share a room with, Dr. Rebecca McKellen-Crawley, mentioned that she went to IgniteSTEM in Princeton last year, and she said she had a fabulous time and that I had to be there. So I hopped the train and made sure I was here.
Nice. What have you taken away so far from these first couple of keynotes?
So far, I've taken away a lot of good web resources for students in the idea of open education and what type of opportunities students and teachers have to extend their learning opportunities.
Nice. What are you looking forward to this afternoon?
Not sure yet. I haven't looked that far ahead yet.
Well, what I'm looking forward to at this point is lunch. Also walking with me here through the large crowd of people, Dan Borgoff. What's going on, buddy?
How you doing, Chris?
I'm doing well. Don't use a better voice than I am.
Sorry. It's my natural voice. What do you want?
True. So what brought you to IgniteSTEM?
An email.
What have you gotten so far?
There's a lot of great companies here. I'd like to see a little more personality from and a little more hands-on stuff from what's to come. So far, it's been a bit commercial, and maybe that's just not what I'm used to, but I'm looking forward to seeing how they change that with the later groups.
All right, so again, as I continue this NPR-like journey here on this episode, I will be back in a second. I am chasing Stacy Lindis out the door, and I wanted to talk to Stacy on this journey as we were riding the subway, but it was a little packed on the subway. So Stacy, welcome back to the House of EdTech. How are you?
Okay, Chris, how are you?
So we are podcasting, walking down West 3rd Street. We're coming up to Sullivan Street. So Stacy, what are you thinking of IgniteSTEM so far?
There are some interesting speakers. It's not what I'm used to as far as professional development and sessions. I'd like to be a little more interactive in my personal and professional learning, but we'll see what happens with the rest of the day.
I do have to agree, this is definitely sit and get. Definitely not the rule of 2 feet going on, but that's okay. It is a beautiful day here in New York City, and that's really all I can ask for. So let us continue the learning and see where it takes us. So while I'm waiting for the next session to begin, I'm going to help Stacy open a bag of kale. While I open this kale chips, Stacy, just talk to the people.
All right, Chris, so I'm super excited to be starting our second session. Well, actually, it's our third session, right? And we are sitting in a room waiting for an author to come in. And I'm super excited for my kale chips.
Wait, he just walked by with a bag of fruit snacks. I love fruit snacks and gummies and all things like that. So really, I think... No, I don't do kale. So really what this episode is turning into is just going to be a diary account of me coming in with little clips. Otherwise, this will be a pain to put together, so I'm just going to be transparent about this right now. So, oh my God, those chips smell atrocious. So, none of these are sponsors, but thank you to Zevia for their 0-calorie cherry cola soda. Krispy Green has provided some crispy fruit apple snacks. They actually sent me some of samples of these in the fall. So if you go to crispygreen.com, you can check them out. So the next session's about to start. I will come back when it's over.
If you're looking at that slide and it looks a little better.
The House of EdTech is a proud member of the Education Podcast Network. The Education Podcast Network. Podcasts for educators, podcasts by educators. For more, go to edupodcastnetwork.com. Okay, so I just finished the session on building your first website. So what I'm going to recommend, and I guess this could be this episode's recommendation, is a website called NeoCities. NeoCities is NeoCities.org. And the wonderful woman from Code Interactive, and their website is weare.ci, and that's weare.ci. Jen Noborakawa, she's the senior program manager. She was talking about NeoCities, and it's a great website where you can get your students building basic HTML websites and introduce them to HTML programming, as well as CSS and a whole bunch of other features. Now, one point that she made in her presentation that I really liked was that when you're giving stuff to students, or even when you're learning something new and you don't know, even professionals will simply Google stuff. So if you're not the best at HTML, and I'm going to raise my hand right here, and I'm not the best with HTML, but I know how to look up and find things that I'm coding when I need to edit my website or do anything else that involves HTML, I use the website W3 Schools. So if you Google that, you can find all sorts of HTML coding tutorials. And now Stacy is making me go eat lunch, which I want to do. So it's time for lunch.
Come on. But we knew each other.
All right, and now it's time for this episode's EdTech Thought, of which I am still here at IgniteSTEM in New York City at NYU. And I'm reflecting on some notes. And the theme of this EdTech Thought is to take risks. Now, I may have talked about this before, but I don't think we can talk about taking risks too often in education. So
I'm just going to look here at my notes, and this is very, very informal, very unstructured. But in terms of taking risks, here are some things to consider. Get out there. Don't just be the teacher who is in the classroom doing what you've done for X number of years or however long you've been teaching. But, take the risk of putting yourself out there. And maybe you're not ready to get on Twitter, or maybe you are on Twitter, but you've been lurking. But start to say hello to people. Send some direct messages. Ask some people for their email address for the best way to contact them. Get into the places that you want to be. For me, it's coming to conferences like this, surrounding myself with more people who, I'm sure on some and even many levels, know a lot more than I do about education technology. And for a conference specific like this one, we're talking about, STEM, which I don't personally have a lot of experience in. I know what it stands for, but it's something I want to learn more about and to be a more well-rounded educational technology, I don't want to use the word expert, but I want to learn as much as I can because I do consider myself to be a lifelong learner. Now, when you put yourself out there and you get into the places you want to be, here's something that I think is very important. And I borrow this from Simon Sinek. And it's the idea of helping others and being a communicator. You need to put yourself out there. What I like to do is I like to push people. And Stacy's looking at me funny right now, making moosey faces. And Mr. Andre, I'm not even going to describe what he's doing, but he's here from Baltimore, as again I record this live EdTech thought. But when you're helping others, that's a way that you can be selfless. Be a giver, bring value. It's kind of what I do here with the show. Each and every episode I'm trying to bring value and give something back, and whether it's my own spin on something. So bring value in whatever you do. And I will turn the page on my notes. And really, this EdTech thought is going to get cut short because I'm about to give of myself and help Stacy with Autocrat.
Because you're awesome.
Because I'm awesome. Make investments in yourself. That's another point that I wrote down here. Take the time to learn what you can, go to things, talk to people. You are worth it. Have the guts and the tenacity to go forth and learn. To, again, take the risk, jump off the cliff. You'll be fine. You're not going to hit the ground. And that's my EdTech thought. All right, so IgniteSTEM is either wrapping up or it's not wrapping up. I'm not really sure. But now I'm looking at Kathy Chow-Isaacs at I Wear the Crowns on Twitter. I'm also looking at Dennis Sheeran, author of Instant Relevance. He's here at IgniteSTEM. It's very cool. Dennis, say a word or two.
Dennis.
Oh, hey, Chris, thanks for coming over and asking me to say a word or two. This IgniteSTEM conference has been great. I have heard a lot of fantastic messages. Can listen to Jonathan Rochelle speak all day long if I had the opportunity to. I think there's a lot to take away from here, and I hope that we can get a lot more, hands-on action from what we heard today in our classrooms and things. So I'm excited to be here. I'm sharing my book with people, and hopefully they can share back with me what they're thinking about it.
And that book, again, is?
The book is Instant Relevance, using today's experiences to teach tomorrow's lessons. And you can find me at Twitter on MathDennisNJ. You can visit my website, DennisSheeran.com, or you can join me every Wednesday night at 9:30 for the Make It Real chat. That's hashtag Make It Real on Twitter. And I look forward to just hearing your ideas and sharing with me there.
Awesome. And we will, as I said the first time we really met, we're just going to get you on a full episode. So we'll do that.
Let's do it. Thanks, Chris.
Awesome. Thanks, man. So now I'm still recording, and now I'm standing here with Sylvia Denko. She's a New Jersey elementary school teacher and a brand new listener to the House of EdTech. They're going to kick me out, so I'm going to keep walking and talking. Very much NPR style. Sylvia, how are you? How was your day today here at IgniteSTEM?
I am doing great. It's been a very inspirational day. Love learning about STEM and engagement. Good stuff.
What was your big takeaway?
Big takeaway. Well, I think, as usual, seeing all these wonderful educators getting together, taking a day off or taking a day off of their spring break to learn.
Nice. And now, through the magic of editing, I am back here in the House of EdTech studio, and it's time for this episode's House of EdTech VIP. Congratulations to one of my newest listeners, Jennifer Duda, right here from New Jersey. I'm actually going to be able to play right now for you a little sound clip because I met Jennifer face-to-face for the first time at IgniteSTEM. So here is my on-the-street conversation with Jen Duda.
So, Jen, you're a brand new listener of the show. I'm going to walk and we're going to talk and go up steps. So, this is why I don't do it live, so I can edit most of this out. So you're brand new to the show.
I am so brand new to the show. I was trying to find some podcasts that I would be interested in listening to, and I found yours, and I actually want to start writing grants for EdTech, and so it was actually the perfect first podcast I've ever listened to, and it was wonderful. So I definitely want to continue listening, and I can't even believe I am talking to you right now.
So how can people connect with you on Twitter?
My tag is @DynamicDuda338. And I'd be happy to hear from anybody.
Awesome. Now, we'll consider this like an informal interview. So I know you're in Mercer County.
I am.
And what do you do in Mercer County?
I am a special ed teacher. I teach 5th through 8th grade special ed in a self-contained autistic classroom, but really more of a behavior modification classroom that I'm trying to now incorporate a lot of tech. I'm a little behind, so where everyone else took one step forward, I'm taking 100 at a time, which is great because I love learning new things. So
I think I'll cut it there.
It was really great to meet Jen at IgniteSTEM, and it started right when I arrived, where Jen said, "Oh my God, you're Chris Nesi." So thank you so much. And Jen, it was great to meet you, and I'm looking forward to learning more from you. I'm so happy that we are connected, and I got to shake your hand, and as I like to do with most everybody, meet you and talk with you face to face. So again, if you are not connected with Jen, she is eager to learn. She's excited about incorporating technology into her special education classroom. So make sure you do connect with Jen on Twitter, and she can be found on Twitter at DynamicDuda338. Make sure you do that, and congratulations to you, Jen. You are a House of EdTech VIP.
Okay, so I'm in the last part of my day where it's time for root beer and ice cream. And I'm sitting here relaxing with a number of my PLN friends. And IgniteSTEM is over. So here are my thoughts on the day. It was a long day, but there were some valuable takeaways. One of my biggest takeaways, again, as I talked about in the EdTech thought, was that you have to put yourself out there. And the people who put this conference on, these are Princeton students, members of the IgniteSTEM organization, and they put themselves out there as young people to create an environment of learning for educators. And that's important. And I think that's really the theme of this whole episode is, putting yourself out there and doing something different. When I started this podcast, I don't think I ever really imagined podcasting walking down the street in Manhattan or sitting in a restaurant such as this talking about my learning. But that's the world we live in, where it's okay to take a risk professionally, personally, and put yourself out there. I can't stress that enough. And right now, even still, the conference is over, people are relaxing, the name tags are off, and the conversations continue. So I hope you continue the conversation. one of the ways you can do that is share your learning with me. Tell me about a time where you put yourself out there. You can go to the show notes page for this episode at chrisnessy.com/84, and that's going to contain all the notes and just all my big write-up for this IgniteSTEM, the resources that you may find valuable. I want to thank you for, again, taking the time to check out this episode, and huge shout out to Stacy Lindis, Dan Borgoff, Kathy Chow-Isaacs, Emmanuel Andre, Chris Harris, Jen Duda, Dennis Sheeran, and all the different people who I got the opportunity to speak with and talk about in this episode. So that wraps up IgniteSTEM 2017. Thank you for checking this out.
And I just want to break in here at the very end to let you know that episode number 85 of the podcast is going to be released on May 7th, 2017. And I'm giving myself an extra weekend off because my birthday is April 27th. So I'm going to live life and celebrate my birthday. Thank you for learning with me. Hope you got a lot out of the episode. And remember, using technology isn't difficult. Just give it a try.